Well, greetings, everybody. This is an introduction to constitutional conventions and why it's so important that a lot of people understand how they're truly governed in the corporation of this thing called Canada. We all love what we thought was Canada. We all love that we thought we had a nation, and many things are happening these days. So constitutional conventions is a collection of information to truly show you how you are truly governed under the corporation of Canada and why it's important. The fundamental facts of this website will educate you how we are governed and how we can change the system so we have an accountable system for the people, by the people. Very important. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction of the website so that it educates you. And once you're a little bit more familiar with the website, it helps you to understand the mechanism of how we can actually stop the system and create a system that's accountable. So I'm going to start out with screen share here. So this is the, oh, there we go. So this is the main page of the website, constitutionalconventions.ca. We have a premiere video here. It's called Creating a Natural Law Republic. Very well done. And once you watch that, it should give you a pretty good indication. We also have on the site, there's the homepage is here, mission statement, Canada history, a lawful republic, how to create a lawful republic. Turtle Island talks about the Deccan and Queen Victoria, the bargains, and what Turtle Island is. We have constitutions in each of the provinces and the territories. And a lot of people ask us why there's a constitution for each province and territories. Well, each province is actually a nation. And each province, so we'll start with the British Columbia. The Corporation of British Columbia has a BNA Act of 1871, which they renamed to a constitution to make people think it is a constitution, but it's not a constitution. It's a BNA Act of 1871. Alberta also has a BNA Act of 1905. Saskatchewan has one of 1905 too. They call them constitutions of Alberta, but they're not. The Ontario and Quebec also have a constitution, but it's not a constitution. It's a BNA Act of 1867. So that's why each province has a constitution. And that constitution was written by sovereigns, for the sovereigns, by the sovereigns. So I'm going to start off real quick here. This is the main page. It gives you the premiere video. And if you click on the premiere video, you can actually go, it'll actually ask you if you want to watch more videos. We are now on Rumble, Constitutional Conventions on Rumble, as we've lost our YouTube, and Brighteon and BitChute do not publish our information because it's factual examination of how we are governed. So there's a Zoom room. The Zoom room runs from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time daily. Very important. You can pop in. There's always somebody there to talk to. We have many people coming in from the republics down south. We have other people coming in from Australia, the provinces and territories of Australia and around the world discussing solutions. We also have a great video here. It's called Woe Unto You Lawyers, done by Fred Rodell. And he'll explain to you in this video very quickly about the Bill of Rights of the United States and the Bill of Rights of Canada. And Bill of Rights means you lose your rights. We also have a little explanation of the Constitutional Conventions coast to coast. And there's actually a manuscript that reads off the Constitution of British Columbia. There's one for each province. Then we scroll down to here. We have some premier videos. We have, if you had enough of the corruption, it describes examination of what we're doing. We have one here done by Dennis Shaw, ex-military, and Reginald Angus Argue, also ex-military Canadian Forces. Every Canadian must see this video. It's called Canada, a Country Without a Constitution. We have types of governments here. Types of governments explain to you what monarchy is, democracy, direct democracy, oligarchy, communism, fascism, and what a true republic would be like. This is Imagine That, is a video about imagine what it would be like if we had an accountable system where people were treated fairly and what we don't have now. There's a video of me and Nolene. How You Are Governed is another great video, for cartoon character video for children to educate them. We have some more videos here. So we have part one, part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 parts. Very well done. Explain to you step by step what we're doing, why we're doing it. So please take a look at those. We also have some other information. Now, I'm going to pop over real quick here to the next page, our mission statement. So our mission statement is straightforward. So you click the mission statement, and then we have some, this scroll bar runs right through, so you can actually look at stuff that you want to look at. Prairie Republic. A lot of people thought, you know, whatever, Prairie Republic. It's up to people what they want to do. Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. So we go down to here. The mission statement is straightforward. We have a little video here. You can play this out here on the mission statement, what we're doing. We also have some questions, you know, are you happy with the direction of Canada? Is Canada a free country run by the people? Very important. Is Canada a corporation or a country? Okay. Some questions here you can ask yourself. Now, these are the great ones. Also, we have a $25,000 reward if anybody can produce papers that any of the provinces federated to the corporation of this thing called Canada. Here are some important questions for you to view and answer about Canada. Now, on this here, we have them straight out like this. We also put a little audio in here so you can listen to them. I'm going to show you how the audio works. It's straightforward. Just click on the audio button.
Canada, it's long overdue to learn some very important facts about its origins, which technically began with the British North America Act of 1867. For Canadians, the answers to the following questions should be common knowledge, as the content should have been mandatory learning in our education system. There's a reason why it isn't, and we will expose all of this. 1, why have the Articles of Confederation not been displayed in the National Archives for the people to see if Canada confederated in 1867? Email us your answer info@constitutionalconventions.ca. 2, why was Canada known as the Dominion of Canada, a British colony until 1931? If Canada had confederated in 1867 and was a sovereign nation. Letters Patent 1947. Letters Patent constituting the office of Governor General and Commander-in-Chief of Canada, usually shortened to Letters Patent 1947, was an edict issued by King George VI that expanded the role of the Governor General, allowing him or her to exercise prerogatives of the sovereign. 3, why in 1867 was the BNA Act created to be Letters Patent for a Governor General to the Dominion of Canada if Canada had confederated and was a sovereign nation? Email us your answer info@constitutionalconventions.ca. 4, why in 1893 would the British Parliament deem it necessary to repeal certain sections of the BNA Act with the Statute Law Revisions Act if Canada confederated in 1867 and was a sovereign nation? Email us your answer info@constitutionalconventions.ca. 5, why in 1931 would the British Parliament create the Statute of Westminster to nullify the Union of Canada if Canada confederated in 1867 and was a sovereign nation? If we were a sovereign nation, how did Britain have the authority to create anything concerning the governance of Canada? 6, why in 1946 did a foreign monarch, King George VI, appoint a representative for the UK, the Governor General, and then command the Parliament of Canada to create Letters Patent in 1947 for his Governor General if Canada confederated in 1867 and was a sovereign nation? Email us your answer info@constitutionalconventions.ca. 7, why did Prime Minister Trudeau in 1982 have his Liberal government create the Canada Act and then take that act to a foreign monarch and have her Parliament pass that act as the Constitution Act? 1982 if Canada confederated 115 years earlier and was a sovereign nation? Email us your answer info@constitutionalconventions.ca. 8, why do prime ministers and other officials when sworn into office here in Canada swear their allegiance to a foreign monarch, Queen Elizabeth, and not the people of Canada if Canada confederated in 1867 and was a sovereign nation? Email us your answer info@constitutionalconventions.ca. 9, why in 1947 did Canadian citizenship come into existence if Canada confederated 80 years earlier and was a sovereign nation? Email us your answer info@constitutionalconventions.ca. 10, in 1990, the constituents of the riding of J. Littlechild MP, case number 9,012,725, took the MP to court after Littlechild promised, as part of his campaign, to vote against the GST. Upon being elected, he voted for the GST. People lost their court case due to the Roman case being quoted. It is of the essence of our parliament system of government that our elected representatives should be able to perform their duties courageously and resolutely in what they consider to be the best interests of Canada, free from any worry of being called to account anywhere except in parliament. Translate this, the Roman case states plainly that once they are elected to power, they cannot be held to account for the promises made during the election campaign. Reference, click here. https://conductpolitics.narca.com/d if MD X5/ to those who one of the J. Wilton Littlechild NPV Citizens of Canada case #post1. These are historical facts to educate Canadians the solution to end the lie and establish a true sovereign nation with liberty, freedom, prosperity, property rights, and land rights. Growing the solution, share to family and friends.
So it gives you a pretty good understanding. And here we talk about why there's 12 constitutions, because there's 12 provinces or 10 provinces and 2 territories. And once you understand the difference between a province and a republic, and we have a great video there, like I said, defining and examining what a real republic is about. We hope you choose a republic. It's up to you. It's why it's a constitutional convention. These are historical facts to educate the Canadians why it's important that we accomplish what we're doing. If we want freedom, liberty, property, and prosperity, we got to change the system or its accountability. So I'm going to go into a couple more little things here. So under the tab, so we have mission statement. Now we go to Canada history. So this is Canada history. Under Canada history, we got the Queen Victoria, Decade and Queen Victoria's bargain. We also got a letter from Mr. Walter Cole, letter Constitutional Crisis. Very well done explanation. And you'll find that Mr. Cole found the same thing. There is no constitution. There's no provinces. The provinces never federated to the Corporation of Canada. We also got some information on the Squamish Nation, how their grievances were handled and not handled properly when they went for sovereignty. We also have some great information on the story of the Committee 300. So the Committee of 300 is the king, the Queen is the crown. She's the top of the committee, and the rest of the MLAs, MPs, anybody in the financial sector, all belong to this group of the Committee of 300. Very important to understand this committee, and you understand that, wow, they have their own agenda. They don't work for the people. So we also have Mr. Cole's final year serving as a politician. He brought forward Canada's constitutional problem in the House of Commons. Here's the transcript of the entry: Canada, a country without a constitutional. It says factual examination. After you read this, you'll understand clearly, more in defined understanding why we have no constitution. Whole Canada, Roger Smith, was very well done. When you read this article here, you just click on read more. It's a PDF file. You can download the files yourself. Everything on this website is for your use. Please take whatever you want, share it to family and friends. The more people that become awakened or educated, the faster we can end this lie and establish a sovereign nation with unalienable rights and protection for all. We also have the letter of René Lévesque addressing Quebec's will separate. Russell Rogers contacted him, and it was a very important letter. He asked him why René Lévesque has asked him to separate when actually Quebec has never federated to the Corporation of Canada. Quebec has always been an independent nation, as among all the other provinces. These are historical facts that have to be discussed and formulated to come to a conclusion that everything we've been taught has been a 100% lie. So this is under the Canada's history. Now let's pop into a lawful republic. So at the very top, you click on lawful republic, and you'll get Fred Rodell, wow unto all your lawyers, which explains law on the BAR, which we'll also call lawyers, which are actually BAR attorned or accreditors. They actually work for the Crown Corporation. They do not work for you. So when you hire a BAR attorney or a Crown Temple, they follow the guidelines, and they cannot go against what the Canadian, what can harm the company called Canada. We also got J. Wilton Littlechild versus Alberta at West Haskell court case, which was brought up on, I think it was number 9 on the mission statement. This is the full court trial showing you they use Roman law, which means that even the court case J. Wilton Littlechild broke every law. He lied, purges himself, but not accountable to the people, because the people of the Corporation of Canada, our Canadian citizens, have no rights. And as you see clearly what's going on, we'll get in more detail, but we don't have rights. Nothing goes against the Canada or the Canada Act or the Act of Parliament. Everything is established so that their laws protect them, and we, the people, have no laws to protect us. This is what we want to do, is change that and establish a constitution for the people, by the people, which with accountability, so we can finally have an accountable system so we can move forward and have a future. We have no future under a system created with theft and robbery, where they can do whatever they want, unaccountable to we the people. So we have some stuff here. It's about the history of common law. Well, one thing I want to go through is unalienable rights versus inalienable rights. Very important. We see a lot of people that are a little bit confused on unalienable rights and inalienable rights. This is a little bit of a write-up on it. You can do your own research. Everything on this page is factual. So unalienable rights versus inalienable rights. So I'm going to put this little play here on for you. So we put it in the audio so you can listen to it. You can share it. And everything I said on this page is, we want you to share them out so we can educate more people. The more people that are educated, the faster we can come to a solution, come to an agreement, and then we can end this thing and start creating an accountable system. So unalienable rights and inalienable rights.
Inalienable rights, state of a thing or right which cannot be sold. Things which are not in commerce, as public roads, are in their nature unalienable. Some things are unalienable in consequence of particular provisions in the law forbidding their sale or transfer, as pensions granted by the government. Natural rights of life and liberty are unalienable. Cuvilliers Law Dictionary, 1856 edition. Unalienable, incapable of being alienated, that is, sold and transferred. Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, page 1523. Cannot surrender, sell, or transfer unalienable rights. They are a gift from the Creator to the individual and cannot under any circumstances be surrendered or taken. All individuals have unalienable rights. Inalienable rights. Inalienable rights. Rights which are not capable of being surrendered or transferred without the consent of the one possessing such rights. Morrison v. State, Missouri. App 252 S.W.2D97 101. Can surrender, sell, or transfer inalienable rights if you consent either actually or constructively. Inalienable rights are not inherent in man and can be alienated by government. Persons have inalienable rights. Most state constitutions recognize only inalienable rights. Behold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among man and woman, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Declaration of Independence, 1776.
So you can clearly see here. So all the constitutions, well, they're not even constitutions, they're Magna Cartas, they're written by B.A.R. Tournament. So inalienable rights can be transferred by consent, and the government can do whatever they want. So persons have inalienable rights, and that's what they have. So all these documents they created are called constitutions, but they're not constitutions, because a constitution has to be ratified by the people. Not once did any of us ratify the Constitution, and that's why it's so important when you go to the main page of the website and you watch the video, Creating a Natural Law Republic. We put on lots of great information in there. There's a lot of great people working on solutions, and that's very important. Now, the next page I want to go to is historical facts, and it's very important. So we got the historical facts. So well, on our facts page, every document on here is taken from the government, sorry, not the government, the Crown Corporation called Canada. They're not our government. The Crown Corporation of Canada And so you have 1992 Charlottetown Accord, which failed. Meech Lake Accord failed. So you can go through all these documents. These are all PDF files, and these documents are taken right from the corporation website of Canada, de facto Canada website. 1974 BNA Act, 1964, the documents, proclamations. There's a lot of information on here. We also have a search bar up here. You can click on the search bar and type in whatever you want, and it will go right to that document for you. So you don't have to, so for quick searches, save you some time. Very important. Again, we put in the file here, the video for watch the full video. Fred Rodell, Low and To Your Lawyers. Very well done. Once you watch that, it gives you a really good examination what you think a lawyer is to what actually a lawyer really is. He's a BAR attorney. Now this brings us into the law section. So I'm going to go into the law section real quick here. So you see the law section here. I'm going to go into law. Here we go. Nope, it's the wrong page there. I'm going to go back one here. Sorry. I'm going to click on it again, refresh my screen. So law, very important. So we got the law section. So we go down to unalienable rights, Canada Charter of So-Called Rights. So in 1982, the corporation of the thing called Canada created a charter. The charter is not for the people. The charter is for the Corporation of Canada. This document's going to explain to you, show you that all the stuff that you thought is not real. This is for the corporation. It's a charter for Canada, not you, the individual sovereign man or woman. That's why when I see people going to court and they're saying, I'm going to use a Charter of Freedoms, the charter does not recognize you. It only recognizes the Corporation of Canada. So we also have some really good information here on the common law versus natural law, sovereign law. Most people don't really understand the difference between common law, excuse me, common law and natural law. Very, very different. So common law was created by the kings. It's a law to protect their assets, to protect their rights, to protect the corporations. The common law was never designed to protect the man. They made it sound like it was for the common man, but it's not. There's 4 laws: admiral law, common law, civil law, and maritime law. That's basically the 4 they use to enslave us. A lot of people get sidetracked on common law because they haven't spent the time. Somebody's regurgitating it and giving them false information, disinformation, a lot of disinformation out there. So if you go through this gives you a quick rundown what that is. Very important to understand the differences. We actually have the mission statement here, but there is one here, the natural law versus common law. We got it in the larger format for you. So you can go through natural law versus common law. Very important. I'm going to go through it with you real quick here. So we actually put it in an audio file. You can click on natural law versus common law, grand jury. So we go back to here. So you click on the black part, which is the PDF file. You can download the PDF file, read it at your own convenience, share it. Common law versus natural sovereign law. What's the difference? So Court of Age is clearly and simply showing the difference between common law and natural sovereign law. Many people think going back to common law in courts is the solution to our current problem in corporate court agenda or the arena. However, when you note the difference between common law and natural sovereign law, you will see that natural sovereign law stripes the hierarchies out of the system down to measurable power behind it, the sovereigns. Okay? The common law is a form of private law that governs the relationship between individuals exclusive of law of contracts, law of torts, and civil law, labor law, commercial law, and corporate law. Based on President 1886 ruled that the corporations are considered artificial persons having the same rights as a human prior decisions of formal courts and judges past time and space. So what this means is this: the corporation is now considered flesh and blood, but it's not. This is why the corporations have created these fictions so that they can use this common law and fictitious corporations and make them like they're flesh and blood. They're not. So hierarchy judges are deemed authority figures. Judges are appointed, selected by politicians. That's very much a fundamental fact here. So when you look at common law and you look at the judge systems, and so judges are holders of an office, a career, and are often viewed as politicians. Lower courts are subject to higher court decisions. State or federal judges often rule on cases from outside their own community. A court is a permanent institution set up and operated by the government. Now, natural sovereign law governs all life, is determined by nature and thus universal, based on sovereign sensibilities in present time. Non-hierarchy, adjudicators carry no real authority. Adjudicators have to serve a case-by-case basis agreed upon by both parties in the dispute. Very important. Resolution remains at the local community. Adjudicators are also respected community members. I mean, they're honorable. You just don't get picked. You do it. If you're respected, you'll be there. If you're not, you'll be removed. And we'll explain to you why. That's what's very important. So we have a lot of judges out there that you know are corrupt, or they are corrupt because they go along with this BAR, Crown Temple stuff, which harms us all. A court is a group of community members who come together for the express purpose of assisting and resolving disputes. Members of the court are selected by the community and agreed upon by both parties. In the dispute, members are only for the duration of the particular case for which they are assembled. Common law grand jury versus natural sovereign law grand jury. Here are the differences between a common law grand jury. Okay, all grand juries abide by the same set of prescribed rules, same set. So precedent, which we saw with the Roman case laws, where little child was 100% guilty, he lied, committed perjury, and got elected and broke every campaign promise that he wanted. And he went right against the people that elected him. And the people that elected him had no course, no remedy, and no solution. And they brought in case law, Roman case law, to end it. So there's your justice in the corporation of this thing called Canada. You have none. Jurors must be agreed to be prescribed to written laws or decrees such as the outdated Magna Carta, 1215 AD, or the de facto Bill of Rights. There's 23 to 25 jurors. Jurors are required to swear or promise to uphold the grand jury rules. Swear an oath to a queen, not to a sovereign. All decisions are made by the majority vote. No decisions of a grand jury is reviewable in any court of the government. Jurisdiction includes any government transgression, breaking of articles of peace or security, and anyone abused by the government. Grand juries investigate potential crimes and come to a decision to indict or not to indict by issuing a true bill or not a true bill. Grand jury decisions stand as law. Now let's talk about a little bit apart here. Jurisdictions include any government transgression, breaking of articles of peace or security, and anyone abused by the government. So the average person, we'll call them Canadian citizens because they are persons, they're not sovereigns under the system we have now. So you as a Canadian citizen files a complaint to the RCMP. They may or may not go forward with it. You have a second option. You can go to the Crown and file a complaint to the Crown, and the Crown will decide whether or not they want to go forward with it. So if anything's going to go against the Corporation of Canada, they're not going to let it go. You may have a bunch of people getting mad and getting angry and protesting and doing rallies and walking around honking horns, but they're not going to listen to you. That's what I mean. So there's no justice. We need justice. That's why Constitutional Conventions.ca is a solution-based information site to get you educated how we can change the system to create an accountable system. Now, natural law grand jury. Grand jury guidelines may vary according to requirements of each community. Community-based. Jurors are required to verbally affirm to execute their duties honorably. There should be 12 jurors. Decisions are made by unanimous vote. Grand jury decisions are final. Jurisdiction is whatever the parties in the disputes decide upon. Grand juries investigate evidence of crimes and come to a verdict, and the sentence is to the crime. Grand jury decisions are stand as a natural sovereign law. There's three types of the jury systems. Very important. Everybody has a it's very honorable done. Guilty or not guilty. And once you understand the mechanism, it's going to remove all this wasted time of judges, heavy costs, litigations. Everything's worded in English. You don't have to become a lawyer to speak English. So we get rid of all the what do you call it? Trickery, confusion, legalese, which the BAR turned, or Crown Temple, which people think are lawyers, they're not, that work for the Crown. That's why it's so complicated and confusing that you can't even imagine it. It's like the Income Tax Act. You can't even understand the Income Tax Act. Even the best financial accountants have told me straight out they can't even understand the Income Tax Act. They just wing it because that's how it is. Winging it. Yeah, pretty strange, eh? Winging it. So back to the main page here. So we're back on this page here. So we got natural law versus common law. We have a lot more in here. We also have a great site on Federal Dells here. The history of common law is very good. So you can go read the history of common law. It'll explain to you how common law was created by them. So when you go through here, I recommend you read this and send it to all your friends that are being a little bit confused about common law and why they should stop practicing common law, because it's not going to save them. So this is a little document. It's a short history of common law. Why is history so important to understand of the common law? Introduction. History helps to understand how the platform for common law was created, why the procedures helped to produce and gradually develop the body of the law deemed the common law, and how common law within this group of fictitious judges help to administer, develop, and maintain law and procedures, and why it's still relevant today. After you read this document, do your own research. You'll find the evidence is very, very supportive that common law was created as a distraction, guaranteeing the corporation would always win the court cases. You, as an individual or a sovereign man or woman, have no justice. This is a brief introduction to the website. Please join us every day from 5 o'clock Eastern to 10 p.m. every day. There's always great people in there to talk to you. I'm in there sometimes. Other great, amazing sovereigns are in there to help you, assist you. Also, this is very important to you. On the website, there's a contact information. You'll love this. So on here, you can email us at info@constitutionalconventions.ca. It's right here, info@constitutionalconventions.ca. You can also go down here. Very important. Fill this information out here. Once it's filled out, you click on this little button. You click away from freedom. Check your junk mail, check your spam mail to make sure you get a confirmation email. And then after that's done, you'll be connected by a local person in your local community. We'll give you a phone call or vice versa, email. You'll be able to communicate. You can have meetings with these people. Very, very, very outstanding work these people are doing in your local communities. So that's brief information of what we're going on. Now I'm going to show you one more. So on the main page, after you click on the main page of the video here, the Constitution, right? This is for the Republic, create a natural law republic. You can click play. You can also go to the right. We have uploaded all the videos to Rumble, as we've lost them on YouTube and Brighteon and BitChute because they don't want the facts out there. So this is a list of videos. Truth about your world. A call to action was done by Tino out of Ontario. Fantastic job. I've got one here just recently. Once again, Canadians have missed the target. The target is talking, organizing, critical thinking. Everybody goes to these protests. Everybody goes to these rallies. You go there, you bring your book, you talk to people, You get communication, say, I live here, let's get together, have a meeting. We have to talk about solutions, organize and plan how we're going to make sure that we can end this thing called Canada Corp and establish a sovereign nation protected by unalienable rights. That's what we're doing. And many other great people or sovereigns are doing the same thing. Join us. Let's go down in history that finally established a system for everybody with equal rights, protection, land, property. Right now, you never own your land. The land is real estate. It's owned by the corporation. You may think you own your land, but you look into it, you don't own nothing. They own it all. So there's some great videos here. Dusty Golier, he's in Saskatchewan. He'd love to meet everybody in Saskatchewan. There's a great amount of people in Saskatchewan. Reach out to them. That's nothing. You get connected to people in Saskatchewan, Alberta, anywhere, even down in Montana and Idaho. We have the U.S. republics doing the same thing. We have the 6 provinces and 2 territories in Australia doing the same thing. We have a great video here by Kai Loom. He's in Ontario. Kai's doing many great meetings. He'd love to hear from you. Contact us, pop into this room. Zoe, also from Ontario. She's doing great stuff. Kiana is from Osiki, Kinotoa, whatever you want to call it. I can't spell it, pronounce it properly. But he's from Mohawk Nation in Ontario. He'd love to hear from you. They're working on the same things that we're working on. Mark does some pretty good videos, explain to you his opinion, some ideas, fantastic information. We also have Barb Dempsey in New Brunswick. Fantastic. Barb is doing some great information out there. She has a great bunch of sovereigns working with her, educating people about sovereignty, why it's so important to have a lot of these things accomplished and what's the benefits of where we're heading. We also have Dino did another 1 million supporting the convoy. Dino was very, very out there helping in the convoy. He was going down to the convoys. He knew the people were coming there, gathering to talk about things. So he would go down there. He would give them information about natural law republic. He'd give them information about constitutional conventions, get them organized to get more involved. Kelson James, he's doing great jobs in Lethbridge, Alberta. Reach out to Kelson James. He's in Lethbridge. Very, very honorable man, working hard with his great people down there. He'd be ecstatic to hear from you. So get on the website, get yourself connected. Like I said, there's people in every province, every community, every town. Get connected with like-minded, honorable people that actually want to do something. Nothing will ever change. Protesting has never worked. Rallies have never worked. They won't work until you sit down, organize, make a plan, objective. What do we want to accomplish? And while you're at the convoys, yes, they're great, but to go get together. But you got to take that energy and bring that energy to where you're actually working on a plan and an objective. And we hope you join, not join, hope you read the information, understand what we're doing. Everything we're doing is lawful. That people have a lawful right to create a constitution, how they want to govern themselves with unalienable rights, property, and a future. Under the system of the Canada Crown Corporation, you have no rights, you have no future, and you have no property. We're offering you what we always wanted: freedom, liberty, prosperity. This is so important that more people understand the mechanism of why this is the most outstanding, honorable thing that you can do, is give everybody else a future by giving yourself a future. Working together, we can end this madness in days. With all the controlled opposition groups out there, distracting you on court cases, liability forms, common law, all these things do not get you organized. All they do is keep you going in circles, and you're never going to get to the problem. The problem is their system. Their system was designed to ensure that you and I and the rest of us would always fail through the banking frauds, usurping us through legalese, confusing laws, confusing courts. Nothing was ever made for us to have freedom and liberty. So that's the Google site, sorry, the Rumble site. You can click on the first page, second page, and there's more videos explaining stuff. This is a great one here about common law. Very good. Very good. We also go into other stuff like the Magna Carta, the ugly truth about the Magna Carta. These are the premier videos, part 1 to 10. Very well done. They're not long. Some are, 18 minutes, 15 minutes. They give you a break, part 1, part 2, part 3, up to part 10, a brief description of what we're doing step by step by step. And after you watch all 10, you go, wow. And the best thing about these, you can take these and email them to your friends. You can, have a barbecue at your house or have a dinner, bring people over. Fantastic information to explain to them. You may not know it all. None of us do. But the website is full of information so you can find the information you want. Excuse me. And so you go through the videos. So I guess number 4, some more videos explain it. So creating a natural law republic. There's one here, parasites, Ducalus, mandatory poisons. Very well done. Enjoy them. Mark this great videos. Are you sovereign yet? We have the theory of money created by Ludwig von Mises. Very informative. I recommend you watch this video. It explains to you the monetary system that we're enslaved with and why it's so important to get a monetary system that's actually works with the people, doesn't create inflation or deflation, as maybe some know here, maybe some don't know. When Trudeau was selected as the next dictator, when they brought him into the corporation crown, his fundamental thing was to establish the Federal Reserve Bank and the Corporation of Canada, which the Bank of Canada used to produce our monetary system at 0% for infrastructure and all types of great things that we were building. In 1974, he ended that, established the Federal Reserve banking fraud system, the fiat cash system, which enslaved us in debt to a foreign corporation. And that's why they created the Income Tax Act, because the income tax all goes to a debt created by fractional reserve spending. So Trudeau did that in 1974, established that. I'll give you an example. In 1972, that year, we borrowed $21.4 billion all across all the provinces and territories. That money was paid back to ourselves. It went in a circle. We paid off our debt. The next year, we borrowed $19.4 billion. That money circulated through the economy, paid off our debt. The next year, in 1974, Trudeau borrowed $37 billion. That $37 billion with compounded fractional reserve spending, we had to pay back $588 billion. So from 74 to 1979, we had this massive debt that came out of nowhere. Inflation came, if you remember, when the interest rates skyrocketed from nothing up to 21.6% interest. Many thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands, or sorry, millions across all the provinces from east to west and Newfoundland went bankrupt. And that was when we had the big recession, because they bankrupted us literally intentionally to steal the wealth from us, steal our land, and steal our futures. But most people didn't have a clue, because you're on a need to know basis, but you don't need to know because you're a Canadian slave. And once you understand the mechanism, how we've been harmed by every single prime minister, dating back to the creation of this thing called Canada Corp. So after Trudeau finally stepped back and they brought the next one, and the next prime minister, which was Brian Mulroney in 1984. Brian Mulroney created this thing with the Bilderberg Group, with the Crown Corporation called NAFTA, which was another mechanism to steal the wealth, the resources from all the sovereigns, to bankrupt us, to put us into poverty, steal the wealth from all of us. Then after that, there was Paul Martin and Chrétien. Chrétien came in. He increased fractional reserve spending, give more to the corporations to make them flourish, while the small and pop stores were penalized, brutalized, and taxed to death till they finally went bankrupt. That's what they did. And then the next one was Paul Martin, who also increased the fractional reserve spending corporations up to 21%, where they get all these leeways, all these breaks, financial gestures, we'll call them bribes and gifts. And that was the foundation to what we're leading up to now, with a massive takeover of the corporations stealing all the land. And it continues down the road. Then we had the next prime minister, Stephen Harper, which was brought into Alberta, pushed as an Alberta boy, but he's not an Alberta boy. He was brought in by the agenda of the Crown Corporation. And Harper signed the SPP agreement, Security Prosperity Partnership, in 2003 to 2006, which is their security, their partnership for them. So that was part of that. And they also brought in the NAU, which under the Bush administration, then the Obama administration, they all work together. They're the same corporation, the United States Corporation and the Corporation of Canada and the Corporation of Australia. They all work together. The British Corporation, England Corporation, Ireland Corporation, they all work together to feed each other. We call them globalists. I call them parasites. So they really well manage this. This is why it's so important to understand how we are truly governed under this system of the corporation or the crown, and why we got to change it for ourselves and our future generations, especially for our children and grandchildren. Without taking these steps forward to understand how we're truly governed and how to fix it, we'll never get to the problem. So please, when you see a rally, we have great brochures. Walk down there, get educated to become liberated. Take the information. Please come see us in the Zoom room, 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock, 7 days a week, daily, Eastern Standard Time. And sometimes that room goes all day and all night, depending on who's coming in. We have people coming in from Australia and around the world. Come meet other great people that are working on solutions, not distractions. And we also, I want to talk about a little bit here is the, see what this page here has on it. There's great videos here, part 1 to 10, confusion of money, great videos. I recommend watching them. Part 1 to 10 is fantastic. We have Will Abram from the Nanaimo, British Columbia, fantastic man. He passed away about 2 years ago. When I phoned his wife up, I was glad I got to meet him. He'll live forever because of his information. Dearly will be missed, but he was working on the same stuff that I'm working on, and you're working on, and many other great people. He discovered the fraud of the Bank of Canada, the criminal Bank of Canada, and why we were enslaved, and why it has to be rectified. We have to come to a remedy. We got to create a monetary system that works for all of us. Please watch this one, Bill Abram. Very great video. History Story Untold, unbelievable. This video is skyrocketed. It's growing worldwide because people are understanding it better. We also got this great video here, Canada's Deception. Very good for educational videos for new people coming. They don't know a lot. We also talk about the SPP agreement, which I talked about earlier here, Security Prosperity Partnership for them. It's called NAFTA. It's called North American Union. Remove your rights, remove the resources, give them to the globalists and sell us out. This is a great video. Harley Monroe does some really good work. He does some really good, excellent videos. We also got Canada, US bills, rights are worthless. Fantastic. We have many great videos by many great people, and they've worked hard to educate you and to get you up to speed what we're doing. Like I said, you also got the forms and types of governments. We have the How You're Governed explained in a comic, fantastic. The Story of Turtle Island, done by a native fella, very amazing. This here is also, again, Every Canadian Must See, Canada, Country Without a Constitution, fantastic. We have some great videos, like I said, the Canadian Deception. So I hope you look at them. And it's such a lot to learn, but not a lot without great people around you to help you, to get you up to speed. That's why it's important to come visit us at Constitution Conventions. And here again is the main site. A quick rundown again. Each province has a constitution created for you to look at. And I hope you look at them, because once you read them from part 1 to 8, they put you, the people, protect the people, finally make an accountable system for the people. Canada's history, a great one. A Lawful Republic describes how we're going to do a lawful republic, why it's so important. We also have part 1 to 10 of the videos, which explain it too. So if you have computer skills, IT skills, video skills, administration skills, everybody has something to offer. The greatest thing you can offer is getting involved and ending this thing called Canada Corp and establishing an accountable system for the people. Thank you. And I hope you understand how important this is now. I want to add one more thing in. Stop screen share. So they want this thing they passed is called UNDRIP, which Harper put through with UN Agenda 2130 and UNDRIP. UNDRIP, Universal Declarations for Indigenous People. UNDRIP is not for you, not for me, not for the Natives, First Nations, Métis. We have to come to a conclusion. United Nations has never been our friend. United Nations is not here to help us. United Nations is part of the globalist system. With all the distractions in life, think yourself, critical thinkers. We've got to do something. Let's get together, put our minds together. We've got to stop wasting time on protests, rallies, events. We use those mechanisms to bring people together, to have meetings. We need block parties. Have a meeting in your house. Lots of great people out there have a lot of great ideas. Let's get them all together, working on a solution. Thank you. Constitutional Conventions is not a group, not an organization. It's a website of information, a factual examination of how you and I and everybody else around the entire planet is truly governed by a globalist system or a corporation by the Vatican that must be stopped and ended. The lie of Canada, the lie of the United States must come to an end. And a conclusion, we the people must join together to stop this charade, this fraud. There's never been an election in the Corporation of Canada. They've been pre-selected, and everything they do has harmed us every year after year. The clear indication is the madness has to come to an end. Organize together. Let's end the madness and establish a sovereign nation with unalienable rights, protection for all, and return the most important thing back to us, our property. And doing all this, we'll finally have a future, and we can actually sit back and give ourselves all a pat in the back, because not one man or woman is going to do this. It's going to be us all collectively working together. Thank you. Please pop in and see us. Thank you very much. Have a great day.